In a gaming landscape that is filled with abundance of trash games and half-assed projects that are churned out year after year, Steam is the golden light at the end of the tunnel. I mean, so many companies should be inspired by what Steam does, and I'm not just talking about their pursuits and things like the Steam Machine or their VR headset. No, I'm also talking about the conditions they have for a game to be on their store, like when it comes to actually disclosing whether or not something is using AI or not. Because by now, you should already know what my stance is on anything to do with AI. Fuck tech bros, and fuck anyone that has to invest all of their money into this because they think it's the next big thing that's gonna rack them up a ton of money. AI is a tool that is currently being used by some of the laziest people or people that just don't want to pay other human beings to do a job, and games suffer for it quite drastically. I mean, our latest example is probably Black Ops 7, because that is just a sad, petty performance of a Call of Duty game. I mean, I don't expect high art from Call of Duty of all things, but by God, this is just trash. We get Skibbity Toilet as a main boss over here, played by Merle from The Walking Dead, and now we're expected to actually enjoy to play this game that's 90% Warzone? I gotta have something, like something of substance if I want to actually buy a video game, and this isn't being able to deliver any of that. And while all of my complaints about this game are too broad and far-ranging, I can at very least narrow down some things that really highlight what the issues with this game are. Because when you're looking at the customizable things that you can have on your profile, these different cosmetics that you can get that in other Call of Duty games are cool, they're different, they're bold. Here, you can clearly tell that they're just AI-generated slop. I mean, this is something that you're gonna see as an AI-generated thumbnail on like a YouTube generation box or something. This has no charm, this has no relation to Call of Duty. There is nothing here, and it's the epitome of a lazy work on a video game, which I think reflects pretty much on the entire game, because this feels like it's one of the entries in the series where the producers of it just gave up because they felt like, well, it's Call of Duty, it's gonna sell anyway. And look at where they're at right now, with the lowest performing Call of Duty in years. But that's not the only thing I wanted to talk about right now, because there's a name that just came into my crosshairs a little bit recently, and that's Mr. Tim Sweeney, the CEO of Epic Games, the guy that wipes his ass with dollar bills and still takes it all the way home to the bank. This guy got too upset because Steam was actually trying to categorize games that had AI and games that didn't have AI. Disclosing that was too much for Mr. Sweeney over here, who, by the way, doesn't even have to actually indulge in Steam's practices because he has his own marketplace for things like Fortnite over here with the Epic Games Store. So his opinion is entirely irrelevant here, but this is a guy that said, well, if we have to disclose things like this, then, well, we might as well disclose what the actual creators of the games use for like shampoo or other things like that, because, you know, gamers gotta know. I feel like there's a point when a tech bro gets so much money that they kind of lose track of the human aspect of video games or artistry or anything whatsoever, and then just see things as ones and zeros because they're just blinded by everything else. The disclosure of a video game using AI or not is the same thing as a fruit or a vegetable saying that they're organic or not. It's your choice whether or not you want to take part in buying that and consuming that. There shouldn't be anything else on top of this. Tim Sweeney's response saying that, well, video games using AI is an inevitability and that every aspect of video games is going to at one point have AI inside of it is kind of a weird, pessimistic way of seeing it. I mean, yes, there are different kinds of AI, but what people really care about more than anything is AI's usage when it comes to things like voice acting, the writing, the actual building of the game. I'm not mad if it came to video games using AI to generate more frames, like with NVIDIA using this generative frame rate to actually smooth out the gameplay so more people can play video games. I'm not mad at that because that's not using AI to create something from scratch and expect it to be wholly new, original, and good. You would actually be using it because this is a game that might be too intense on some people's hardware. The kind of things that are currently being taken by AI in this video game landscape are a lot more broad than you would be expecting. Arc Raiders right now uses AI voice actors for everyone in their game, and that's because they just didn't want to rehire voice actors every time a new update dropped with new items to just re-record a few lines. So they just said, hey, what better than just having AI actors to just fill in the voice lines once they actually drop, so we don't have to have anyone in the studio. I think it's a trash system, and it sucks for the voice actors that took part in giving their voices for these roles, but Arc Raiders is doing pretty well in the marketplace, so I don't think they're going to be a company that cares all too much about what people's reception on that is, even though it has been pretty negative, and some game reviewers out there have actually dropped their scores because of AI's involvement inside of projects like this. And you know, maybe my loathing of AI wouldn't be as bad as it is right now if it wasn't shoved in our face 24/7. This is something that I just have to wake up to and see on every app, on everything that I just have to take part in, because it is a part of every website's ecosystem. Everything has to take part in it, whether it be in YouTube's AI upscaling with all of the videos that I've done with shorts, or when you're trying to watch something in a completely different language and are just jump scared by the first English word that comes up because the auto translate is already turned on that video's track list. It's an annoying thing, and I hate that companies are trying to push it to be more of the norm, while I think a wide majority of people would prefer to just have it off until maybe it would be convenient. The usage of AI art in video games is something that I feel like could be easily fixed. Just hire small-time creators to create unique pieces of art that mix well with whatever style they've got going on. You don't have to pay top dollar for like the biggest artist in the world. No, just give some people a shot to just make something creative for once. You forget that when using AI, it's borrowing images from whatever it has in its system. A lot of times, ripping assets and artwork from other creators or other kinds of companies, like maybe from Ghibli, because these are anime-inspired arts that look identical to the anime filter on something like ChatGPT. There is no spark of creativity over here. It's just bland, it's boring, it's lifeless. There's so much more that they could do over here in this space, but again, it just shows that they're taking the easy way out and creating a project like this. People that take offense to things being labeled that they have AI in them are people that are too afraid to admit that they just didn't care enough to actually put in the work to make it as good as they wanted it to be. They know that AI has a negative connotation, but they don't want to admit that to themselves because they already have this illusion of what AI can be in the future. And this AI problem that's over here is only gonna keep getting worse. We're gonna see bigger companies like Amazon try to implement it more in their creative pursuits as well. I mean, I don't know if you've seen all of the stuff that they just did with anime dubs in English when it came to No Game, No Life and Banana Fish, but those came out to be atrocious. But like I said in my short on that, the backlash came quick and hard, and they had to actually withdraw all of those dubs because they said that people just did not care for them in the way that they wanted them to. AI usage is a great example of corporate grade. It's the easy way out, and more commonly than not, it's also been the worst route that a company can take. So far, like I said, Steam's been doing a pretty good job at disclosing whether or not something uses AI, but I don't know how many companies are going to follow its lead and actually showing us what uses it and what doesn't, because a lot of companies are just in it for the money. They want quantity over quality every day of the week because they know there's always going to be a market of people trying to buy something. We just actively have to be hoping that people are going to be voting with their wallets, a saying that I truly believe has been beaten to death, but one that is more correct than ever. As soon as people, as the individuals, as soon as they start to actually let their voices be heard, then these companies are going to just turn tail and go the other direction and try and rebuild what they had before. Or at least that's my hope as to what they would do. But this, I think that wraps up what my thoughts are on this, what my resentments are with the current landscape of the gaming industry, with voice acting, with Amazon, with a ton of different things. And as always, I'd like to know what y'all's thoughts are on this. Do you like the implementation of AI in all of these things? Or are you more in the correct route in thinking that all of this implementation is just kind of taking down the value of the art that we have shown to us? But with this, as always, I was Randy, and I'll be seeing y'all next time. So, peace.